everybody. I thought that I would put together a quick guide that I wish that I had had when I first started, and granted, the project has grown a lot since I actually went through this process in, I think it's 2015, maybe 2016 was when I actually logged into the game for the first time. Um, I came in, I invested in the project early in the Kickstarter, but then I came back and actually made an account once they proved that they could bring the game out of the hangar module. So for a long time, this game was just a big hangar that you could run around and look at your ships. You couldn't fly, you couldn't really do anything, you couldn't interact with other people. And then they moved into the first iteration of the game, and that was when I got into this. But I noticed even just making that account and logging in for the first time was a little bit different than other games, so I kind of wanted to walk through that process. Although it's not too difficult, there's a couple little quirks, so let's get into it. So the first thing, I pulled up the Edge browser because I don't usually use it, so it won't just automatically dump me into the default RSI page. So the first thing most people do is they know Star Citizen is made by Cloud Imperium Games, so they try to go to Cloud Imperium Games. But the website is cleverly an in-lore company named Robert Space Industries. So you don't go to Cloud Imperium Games, although I think that you can actually find your way there. So actually, let's see what happens. So if you go to Cloud Imperium Games, it takes you here. Let's see where that goes. So yeah, it shows off this. This works, but finding your way around here is a little bit hard. So where you want to go instead is Robert Space Industries right there. And so it'll be the first link. You're going to click on that. And then when you get there, you're going to get this little pop-up window with all these things. Join the universe is a good place to start. So let's click on that. That'll bring you in here. And this is just kind of the basic landing page. So you're going to need two things in order to play this game. So most games, you're just going to download the game and that'll be it. It'll install on your computer. You're logged in. Even with Steam games, you'll just use your Steam account and that's your account. With this one, you need to make an account on the Robert Space Industries page. Basically just your gamer account. You can think of it that way. And then you're going to need to actually buy a game pack. And I'm going to go into how to do both of those. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is click on account. Okay, so when you click on account, I went ahead and I removed my information here just because it pops up your email and everything. I don't really want people emailing me. So this will just be blank. You'll want to click on enlist now. Okay, and when you click on enlist now, it'll pop up this. You'll need to enter your call sign. Unfortunately, because there's something like 3 million accounts now, you're probably going to have to be pretty creative with your call sign name. Enter an email, enter a password, all of that's normal. All of this, stay informed, that's optional. Agree to the terms and services, that's not. And then you click enlist, that'll make you a game code, so you're a game account. So you'll basically be able to, you'll have an RSI account that'll be linked in the game. And again, this is the name right here that'll show up in the game. That'll be your call sign. So I'm Don Steeler. That's Don Steeler right there. So let's go over here. So that's the first step. So you need the RSI account to start the process. Then you're going to come down here to play now. And this will call up starter packs. Now there are a ton of ships, and if you're into this, there's more than just these two. So don't feel like you are shoehorned into paying $45 or $70, at least US. So if you can see down here, there's the pledge store. But I'll kind of go into this because if you kind of found your way here, first of all, welcome. But I don't know how you found my YouTube page, but here you are. So you're going to need a game pack. And the problem is, if you go to the pledge store, which is right here, you'll just sort of see a ton of... Okay, good. They've actually fixed this since the last time I was here. So these are all starter packs, and that's what you want, because if you just go to the regular ships page, you can scroll through all of the ships that are in here. You can see view specs. Let's see if I can find one that you can actually buy right now. Specs and options. But if you arrived there, what you want is game packages, because without a game package, you cannot play the game. So it's really important that you get something that is a starter pack that has the game package. If you click on more info, you can see right here it comes with Star Citizen digital download. They do sell ships that do not have a starter package. So you'll buy this really cool ship that you've been watching other people fly around and play in, and you'll go to start the game and it'll say your account is invalid or you don't have a game account. That's what it's talking about. You need the Star Citizen digital download in your package that you buy. My suggestion, it used to be that the Mustang was the better one to buy because the trade-in value for it was $5 higher than the Aurora, but the Aurora has a bed you can log out in, which you won't use too often at this point in the game, but that'll eventually matter. Mustang does fly really nice, but either one of those packages, you don't need to spend any more money than that. There are other ships that are, if you want to support the project, you can spend more than $45. Some people, myself included, spend an inordinate amount of money to get this thing going. The Titan starter pack, Titan's a great all-arounder, good dogfighter and stuff, but again, $70, and everybody has $70. Pisces is a pretty good one for $60. Let's see, the Cuddy Black. The Cuddy is kind of the sort of the premier Swiss Army knife in the game, but again, you don't need to spend this money. You can get a starter pack, you can run little box missions or cargo, or there's a number of ways you can make money in this game, and you can grind for a little while and be able to afford these bigger ships, and even the ones that aren't for sale here, but they are for sale in-game for in-game currency, and you can get the ship that way. And that would be my suggestion, unless you want to support the project. This right here, you're supporting the project. It's not, you get access to this ship for giving CIG $115 to continue the production of the game. So if that appeals to you, then do that. You don't need to spend any more than $45. So with that out of the way, you have a game package, you have your account, you're ready to go. So then you will log into the game, and I will go ahead and do that with an account that I haven't used for this one yet, and I'll show you what the process is there. So Star Citizen is a game that is in process. It is a huge game memory-wise, which probably doesn't matter so much these days because you're going to need a high-speed internet connection to play it anyway. But this is the first screen you'll see here, and so you'll go ahead and you'll enter the email and password that you had for the previous one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on an account that I haven't used for this patch yet, just to sort of walk you through what that looks like. Okay, and once you sign in, it'll give you this two-factor authentication. You'll send an email over to a one-time email that you can use just to plug in here. So you just need to go, you set the duration of the time, and you can name the device or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and be right back. Okay, and we're back. So I went ahead and I got that. So here's my one-time code. Click authenticate. It'll bring me in. Of course, you'll have to actually you'll have to install the game and all of that when it gets up here. If you start having problems there, one thing you can do is click on settings over here. You can see there's a verify button. That'll do an install right there, and it'll just kind of check your files. I've noticed, and so I've already done the install, so this will only take a couple seconds. It's just kind of checking the files. You can sort of see the files left here. Sometimes it'll just have like one or two for any cheat. That's fine. For yours, it'll probably take a lot longer. But now we're ready to go. And so this can actually take a while. Again, it's a big game and it's not optimized. So I'll go ahead and jump in. And you can just acknowledge this pre-release. I'll come back to that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump in. It has this little countdown, so it'll just assume that you acknowledge if you don't click this button, but you can go ahead and click that button. And we'll come back once the game starts. Okay, so this is a good example of troubleshooting. So this has been happening a lot in the last couple patches. You can just try relaunching Star Citizen. I've noticed that especially after a download of a new patch, you'll get this one a lot. Typically just relaunching the game will work. I don't know why it takes that double click, but it's just one of those little troubleshooting things. Again, an alpha project, and there are some weird, annoying bugs you wouldn't expect of a game, but just remember that these are the things that are kind of low priorities for them at this point. Unfortunately, it can be a hell of a gate or a blocker for new players, so just stick with it, click it again, and we'll be back once the game drops in. And here we are. So this is the first screen, at least for 3.17.1. Eventually this will probably be changing to Pyro next year, so depending on when you watch this, things might look very different, but I assume this will stay more or less the same. Options right down here if you want to go in and set a few things. One of the things I suggest is turn off vibration. It can cause some weirdness, some things that'll make the experience a little bit faster unless you have a really high-end computer. Turn off motion blur and turn off VSync under the graphics setting. You turn those two off. Generally that'll kind of clean up some of the performance issues. Now, what you're seeing in the background here is Orison, which is a gorgeous setting. I do not recommend starting there. So you can sort of see there's a few options here. Star Marine, probably not going to be around for too much longer, or if it is, it'll probably be limited. I'm assuming they're going to roll both of these into the game. If you are brand new to the game, and especially if you're not real used to flight simulators, even if you are, this game operates differently. I'd suggest going into Arena Commander and practice flying a little bit because there's zero consequences in Arena Commander. So go to Arena Commander. This is a game within a game, so lore-wise, this is a game that people in the Star Citizen universe are playing. So go to single player. Instead of classic race, go to free flight, and then you can just fly around in your ship and get used to it. I recommend doing that until you are used to the controls. And you can reset your controls and stuff, and you're not flying into walls, blowing up, dying, having to respawn back in your hab. And go through that. That can be really, really frustrating as a new player. So start with Arena Commander. After that, you want to click on Persistent Universe. You're going to make your character, so we're just going to go with, yeah, that's great. He looks fantastic. You can change that later. You can see right down here, character customization. If you call your guy up and he looks goofy, you can do that. So now you're stuck with this screen. If you click on Select System, right now we only have Stanton System, so click on Stanton. Eventually that'll say Stanton and Pyro, which will be exciting. There's Crusader in the background. Select Location. Now, there are advantages to all of these. Orison is really pretty. Area 18 and New Babbage have access to a lot of shops where you can get pretty much everything you need. I like Lorville because it is central to everything. So if you click on Lorville, it's dingy as hell, but it's one of the better starting locations. Just what I have noticed, and we'll go ahead and we'll click on this. Orison is gorgeous, but you're starting on these platforms. It's a gas giant, so you have to fly out a really, really long distance. So in order to start playing the game, you start on this beautiful platform. You can go around, you can buy a couple things, but all the adventure is out in the verse. So you're stuck leaving the atmosphere, and that can take like minutes. It's painful. So Visit Orison, definitely I would not recommend starting there. Fly over there when you get later in the game. Area 18. Area 18 actually isn't a bad place to start. There's just not a lot happening around ArcCorp. So I tend to pick Lorville because there's a lot of bounty hunter missions. There's a lot of box missions. It was one of the first worlds they created, so it's one of the more polished worlds. New Babbage is a really cool one, location-wise and visual-wise. The reason that I don't tell players to start out at New Babbage is because it seems like the elevators at New Babbage just, at this current point in the game, they seem to have a lot of difficulties. Like they won't always spawn in the first time. The trains that take you from one place to another don't always work, so you're just stuck in your hab and you can't do anything. Again, really frustrating as a new player experience. One of the reasons I like Lorville is because the elevators, at least the ones leading out of the hab, always work. You can just walk directly to the stores or the hospital or everything from your hab. And the trains have been working basically since 2018 in Lorville. So they may be fascist corporate tyrants, but their trains work. So you won't get stuck in your hab at Lorville, which is why for new players, and just because it's kind of central to the other systems right now, orbits aren't in, so the planets are in set places. Lorville is in the middle, or Hurston is in the middle of all of those. So that's my recommended starting place. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out here. Actually, let's go ahead and jump in. I'll just keep talking. So this will be your primary residence. Are you sure about this? You can do this. You can move your primary residence layer. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but if you're a new player, you probably don't have a lot of ships, so you're just going to be moving yourself an Aurora or a Mustang. So let's go ahead. I'm going to talk about the minimum specs. Definitely you are going to need an SSD, so a solid state hard drive. Not one of the ones that spin. I don't even know if you can get those anymore, so that's a few years back. That was kind of the stopping point for a lot of people, was they had the spinny hard drives and HDD as opposed to a solid state one. Now they don't even really sell solid state or regular hard drives anymore. They're all solid state. So you probably don't have to worry about that. The specs on the page say 16 gigs of RAM minimum. I would say that is a bare minimum is 16 gigs. You want 16 to 32. If you could get 24 in there, my old computer had 24. I don't even remember how I got that combination of sticks. I think it was mostly just hybrid of old and new sticks, and somehow it worked. I would not suggest going that route. So 16, 24, 32, you'll be fine. Obviously, the more RAM you have, the better it'll work. You hit Y to get out of bed. Most people will just be stuck in bed. You probably want to leave hints on. Interact with things. You hit F, and it'll call this up, and it'll highlight things that you can actually interact with. So come down here, it'll say open. You click on it, you can open things. Should be able to close it. Yep, there it goes. Close. So that's your inner thought. But let's go on with the minimum specs. So you need, I would say, as a video card, as a GPU, if you have anything that's a 1080 or higher, it'll run. And it'll run on lesser cards, but it's going to be a slideshow. I've got a regular 2080 now, and you can sort of see the frames aren't fantastic, but it's good enough. I mean, I can play the game. I can dogfight. Quad-core CPU, again, these are minimum specs. Obviously, the more you go over those specs, the better it'll be. So a quick note about this game, it's not optimized. They aren't going through and fixing everything because they are still building the engine of the game. So while they're doing that, there's no real point in going back and saying, okay, well, we're going to fix this microwave so that it works 100% of the time, because there'd be no point, because in a year there might not even be a microwave. There might be the minimum or the tier 1 or 2 food gameplay or something. So why fix the microwave now if they're going to completely rip it out? There's a lot of things in the game like that that are just here. I'll give you a good example. So you'll hear a lot of people complain about this, and this is the star map, and it is basically what we have had probably since 2017. It's hot garbage. I mean, it did the job originally and it works, but it's not great. There's a lot of quirks to it, but they're making a new one, so they're not going to fix this while they're making a new one. And there are a lot of features in the game like that. So when I say this is an alpha project, that's what I mean. You're going to have bugs that will kill you. That'll knock your character out. You'll lose everything you were carrying. You're going to start in a default spot. You're going to wake up in a hospital with a gown. You will have lost hours of gameplay. That is not unusual for this game. The only thing that I'd suggest is remember that this game is alpha. None of this money actually matters yet because the game has not been released. So this is all Monopoly money. It can definitely be frustrating to be playing this game and lose hours and hours of gameplay. If you need to log off and take a few, I recommend doing that. I have certainly done that on occasion when I've been recording something, or, you know, just going out and doing bounty missions, and some bug like my ship will teleport through a planet and explode, things that I had no control over. That happens in this. So it is an alpha project. It's in progress. There's a lot of bugs. So if you want to be an unpaid game tester and see something that just looks gorgeous, welcome to the verse. If you're not, I would say log in and kind of see what it's like. If you hit anything that's really, really frustrating to you, just maybe take a break until the next patch. Again, you hold down F, click on the button, it'll pop open. And then you're in the verse. And so from here, your journey can begin. You can go have fun. This is sort of what I mean. So let's take a look at this. Medical gowns. So there are 3 medical gowns here. So somebody was dying a lot, and you will too. And that's just kind of the way this game goes. Log in, just kind of have fun. You see me in the verse, Dawn Stealer. Shoot me a line. I can show you around, show you a few ships, fly around if I'm not in the middle of something. If not, if you just call up F11. This is the chat right here, which hopefully they're not saying something racist. They usually don't. They're usually good. But you can just say something in chat and say, hey, I'm new. Could somebody show me around? And you will almost always get at least a couple people. They'll be just, because we're dealing with Monopoly money right now and nothing really matters. You'll get players like me that have been playing for a long time. They're like, yeah, what the hell? I'll show you around, but come over and hop on my ship. And then you fly around with someone, have a little adventure, and that's honestly where this game really shines. So jump in, have fun. If you don't want to spend money, one final point I'll throw out there is if you just want to test this thing out and you don't want to buy a game package, you make a RSI account, and then you can jump in on a free fly event, which they usually have those at least quarterly. Always whenever they drop a new patch, they have one like that. They have a free fly event. Free fly event, you do not need to buy a game package, as the name suggests. You just need to have a gamer account with them on the RSI page, and you can jump in, fly for free. I will warn you that those tend to be pretty busy times, and the servers kind of are on the struggle bus when those things happen. So stick with it. It's not necessarily a true representation of what the game is. Once you get in this elevator at the end of the hall, if you hit ground floor, take it down here. But yeah, Free Fly is a good way to kind of get in, sort of see what the game's about for free. Servers struggle during Free Fly, so maybe not the best representation of the game at its most stable, but it'll give you an idea. So here we are in Lorville. Again, I have never had, well, not for a few years, I have never had problems with the elevators at Lorville, which is why I say new players should start here. You just walk over this way, come over here, and I believe there is a map right around the corner here. So if you come over here, here's your map. And this, the way Star Citizen does their signposting is literally in the world, like you would see it in the real world. So you are right here. That's your location. We're looking this way, so that right down there is towards Teasa Spaceport. If you look to my left, that is all of this. And there's where you're going to buy stuff. You got a bar over here. You can take this to, both this and this will go to, Leavesden Station goes to the gigantic building that's over Lorville, but they've kind of got a nice sort of triangle of trams here. But once you get here, you are in the verse, you're playing. Once again, I would say probably just hop in chat, throw yourself on their mercy, say, hey, I'm new. Someone will probably be like, hey, jump in with me, or I'll spawn up a ship for you, and you're in the verse and you're playing. So that's it. See me next time.